So Apple says that Apple Intelligence is AI for the rest of us. In other words, this is AI that the everyday person can use and benefit from. But is that really the case? Well, we're going to look at iOS 18.1. We're going to break it down and we're going to consider 10 different features that make this update special. No, it's not the complete Apple Intelligence package, but I'm telling you folks, this update brings a lot of new changes and features to the table. Changes that change the way you use your iPhone in just day-to-day every man or every woman task. And while the majority of the features covered here are AI related, not all of them are. For instance, the new AirPods 2 hearing aid feature, a unified emoji picker, and one of my favorite things, drag and drop for iPhone mirroring.
Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Mac. Be sure to thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and then enable notifications with the bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos.
So here it is, folks, iOS 18.1, the official public release version. The first thing you want to do is go to settings, go to Apple Intelligence and Siri, and make sure you turn on Apple Intelligence. There is like a little wait list there. Hopefully you get in soon. But you can learn about some of the new Apple Intelligence features just by tapping Learn More here. That takes you over to the Tips app, and there are several tips there that outline some of the things that Apple Intelligence brings to the table in iOS 18.1. But like I said, this isn't the full final Apple Intelligence rollout. There's still much more to come, especially with iOS 18.2. But like I was saying, there are quite a few new features here in 18.1, starting with the new Siri interface. If you're running an iPhone 15 Pro or iPhone 16 era device, you're going to get this full screen Siri interface. If you're not running one of those latest devices, you're not going to get this full screen Siri interface, unfortunately. And if you double tap on the home indicator or at the bottom of the screen, you bring up the new Type to Siri interface. So you can easily switch between typing and between speaking. Anytime you want to type to Siri, just tap the bottom of your screen twice, and that brings up the Type to Siri interface with those suggestions. And it works pretty well from my experience. For instance, what's the weather? You have quick type there, inline suggestions as well. So I just sent that. It responds right there. No need to talk to Siri at all. And Siri's also been updated to better handle contextual conversations. So you can continue a conversation. It'll know exactly what you're talking about. In this case, I wanted the visibility based on the context of my conversation. Cupertino, I want to schedule a hike there later. I don't have to specify Cupertino. It automatically knows that based on the context of the conversation. So you can see there, the hike is scheduled. If I go ahead and open that up, you're going to see in the calendar, there's my scheduled hike.
What time is it in Guatemala? Actually, no. What time is it in Cupertino?
So Siri much better at handling botch requests. How do I turn on dark mode? So it now provides you with instructions on how to use your iPhone as well. You just ask it anything and it'll tell you. Now here's something you are definitely going to find handy. The new writing tools allow you to do all sorts of things with text, manipulate your text as you write, so you can proofread the text, you can rewrite the text using different tones. And this is just the beginning, and 18.2 is going to get even better with ChatGPT integration. But here you can see even still, there are quite a few features here for writing tools. So you have proofread, you have rewrite, you have the various tones. So let's go ahead and proofread first, because I had quite a few mistakes in this paragraph. So you can see, you can go through each different change. It'll tell you why it made the change. That's spelling, the phrase usage. Generally, it's going to be spelling in this case, but you can easily go back and use the original for individual words, or you can revert the entire paragraph if you want to. So you can quickly compare the original with the new suggestions. So let's go ahead and proofread. We're good with that. You go ahead and tap on done. It saves the changes there. And let's go back. If you double tap and highlight the text, you can instantly rewrite the text directly from QuickType. Just tap rewrite. It rewrites that text just like that. And if you don't like the initial rewrite, just press the refresh button and that will come up with another rewrite, another take on your paragraph or your block of text. So once you do that and once you're satisfied with it, you can just tap done. And now if you tap this little button here, that actually opens up the writing tools as well directly from the QuickType bar. So you can do that in multiple ways, opening the writing tools. But here you can see I've changed the tone to be that of a friendly voice. So you can see the text, a lot of exclamation points. You can go for a professional voice. You can see there, it's pretty formal with the hello, comma, new paragraph. And then you also have a very concise tone as well if you just want to get straight to the point. And again, you can rewrite any of those tones if you want to refresh, pull in different suggestions and things like that. So let's go back to writing tools. Now you see summary, key points, etc. But summary basically just summarizes the block of text that you select, and you can actually paste that summary in if you wish to, or you can copy it, or you can just use it just to give you an idea of what this whole block of text is about if you didn't write it. There's also the ability to just bring out the key points. Again, handy if you're writing or if you're reading the content. Either way, it can be helpful for you. So you also have lists, so you can create a quick bullet point list of all of the relevant points within that. And there's also a table, so you can create a table as well. Not really enough text to get anything really beneficial for that table in that case, but that'll probably be a very powerful feature with a bunch of text highlighted. Now, the AI summaries are probably my number one new feature for Apple Intelligence, at least in 18.1, because this is super handy. So as you can see that little summary button or summary glyph? That really just gives you a quick overview of what the entire email is about. So you don't have to read the entire email to gain context as to what it's about. If there's a lot of nonsense in there, you just want to get to the point. Well, you can quickly get the summary, and then you can get a longer, more verbose summary, if you will, just by tapping the summary button at the top of the email. But as you can see, this is very handy. So you don't have to scroll through all this. You can just quickly gain context as to what this is about. What is it really about? Now, with that being said, sometimes it doesn't get it quite right, especially if you're summarizing like notifications that come in, because this also works with notifications from messages or any other app that comes in where there's a bunch of them. It will summarize the group of notifications and try to give you an accurate picture or paint an accurate picture as to what that's all about. We'll talk about that in just a second. But here you also have smart replies. So you can see when I reply, you see the little rainbow text on the quick type. Those are smart replies. So you see got it or thanks. So I'm just going to say got it. I tap that, and it doesn't just put in got it, but it actually puts in an actual reply that looks like it's written by a human. That can potentially save you time. And of course, you can use the writing tools on that reply if you want to. So if you want to make it a little bit more polished, you can do that, make it more concise or professional. You can do that as well. Now, smart replies aren't just limited to mail. You also get them from messages. But in this case, it's just going to be what it's suggesting instead of like a whole paragraph or sentence or whatnot. Now, here's what I was talking about earlier. So when you get a batch of notifications, as you can see here, there are 4 of them. You see it summarizes what that whole batch of notifications is about. When you tap on it, of course, you can read each individual. But here you can see new iPhone camera needed, iMac coming out next month. So it came to that conclusion based on the context of those 4 messages there. And in iOS 18.1, there is call recording. So this works for FaceTime audio or just regular phone calls. You tap that little button in the upper left-hand corner. Here's the splash screen. This is the first time I'm using it on this installation. But it will play an audio notification to let the other parties know that the call is being recorded. You hear a little tone as well. So now you can see the call is being recorded. And you can stop that just by tapping the stop button once it's finished recording. But I'm just going to have a conversation between myself there. You can see that conversation. You see the little like waveform for that conversation as I go about speaking. But the cool thing about this is that it will actually produce a transcript that is placed in the Notes app, and it will actually break down the conversation participants. So it'll say like Jeff, and then I'll have the text that I speak, and then I'll have the other caller on the other end of the call, and I have their text. So if I go to Notes, you're going to see call recordings there, special folder specifically for these transcripts. You just tap on that. It's not just the transcript, of course, it's the actual call. You can play that call back, as you can see here. So that call is playing back, but not just that. If I tap on it, I'm going to be able to view the full transcript of that phone call. So you can see here, You see, as Jeff B is talking, you can see it's following along with that conversation. You can actually tap any of the text there and it'll jump right to that spot in the conversation. Super cool feature. And I can see this definitely being useful, especially if you're doing like a conference call or you're doing some sort of meeting and you want to take notes. Well, this is a great way to do so. And like I said, you can quickly jump between any of the participants and jump between different sentences even as that conversation proceeds. And if you don't want the transcript, you don't have to view the transcript. You can just tap the little quote button in the bottom left-hand corner and that'll hide that and just show you the waveform for the actual audio there, as you can see here. But what's really cool is that you can get summaries. You see the summary button there, but if you go back even to the main page, you see the summary there just telling you what that phone conversation is about, waiting for regular video uploads, now uploading weekly, multiple times a week, etc. This is definitely one of the coolest new features in 18.1. But there's also the ability to hide distractions in Safari. This is going to be pretty controversial, I imagine. But if you tap that button there and you tap hide distractions, you're going to see hide distracting items. So you tap OK. And then basically this is going to allow you on that particular screen. You can't actually scroll when you're in this hide distracting mode. But anything that's in view, you can tap and hide that. So in this case, I'm just going to hide this advertisement. So I'm just going to tap here and then tap hide distracting items and then just tap hide and poof, it goes away just like that. And you can always tell if you have hidden items, you'll see like a little blue eye in the address bar. You just tap that and you can tap hide distracting items again. Let's hide this. So you can hide blocks of text, whatever. You can easily hide that with this new feature to hide distracting items. Now, if you want to get those back, just select show hidden items. Now, this isn't a real ad blocker because you would have to literally do this for every single site you visited, but it is a good way to remove certain distractions. Now for photos and camera, one of the things that definitely stands out is the ability to create a memory movie with just a description. So this Apple Intelligence feature lets you just type in some text and it'll analyze your photos, your videos, and basically try to come up with a memory movie based on what you type. And it even will pull in music from Apple Music. So you can specify a particular song or artist and it'll do that. So it doesn't like NYC for some reason. So I'm just going to spell out New York 2024 with Coldplay music. Shout out Chance. All right, so request from Apple Music, you just tap OK. So obviously I can't play this on YouTube, unfortunately, but you can see it is searching through all my photos. Those are photos, by the way, that I've sort of censored out in the background. So there it is, a city canvas, October 1st through 3rd, my trip to NYC, as you can see there. And you can see Coldplay is actually playing, Magic is playing, and it's all synced to the memory movie. Really, really cool feature. So being able to actually just make those on the fly using text, pretty awesome new addition to iOS 18.1. But that's not all with relation to photos and videos. You also have a new feature called Cleanup that basically allows you, it's like a magic eraser, so to speak, for photos. So if there's something in a photo that you want to get rid of, Cleanup will help you to do that. It isn't perfect, and it's still something I feel like is going to get better over time. Certain scenarios, it works really well. Other scenarios, it doesn't work so well. So here I'm just trying to remove that little like towel under those books. And yeah, as you can see, it kind of falls flat there. It doesn't work all that well. In this case, this is probably not the best scenario to be using this. And that was decent. If you're in a pinch, I mean, that might work for you. But I'm going to show you some additional examples that are much better. So here's one. Now, another thing that Cleanup can do is actually censor faces. So you can see it actually detects layers within the photo. So that didn't actually detect my face, but it was in the background. But here you can see a safety filter applied. So we can actually censor faces. Once it detects you circle a face, it can like censor that face out if you want to protect children or whatever in a photo. You can also, for certain items that it finds, you can just tap and those items will be deleted. Instead of having to circle it, you just tap it, it'll be highlighted, and that way you can quickly get rid of it. But here for this umpire, I'm just going to circle it and he's gone. That works really well in that case. Here's some people in the crowd. You can just tap, they're gone. So in this case, it works pretty well for this photo. Now 18.1 also improves the search results, so you can be more specific with your searches. And in 18.1, if you have an iPhone 16 era device, you can actually use the camera control button to switch to selfie mode now. That was not an option in the previous version of iOS. You can see me going through the camera control navigation, and I can switch cameras and even switch over to the selfie camera. There's also spatial mode for the iPhone 15 Pro and 16 Pro devices. So this is a brand new camera mode. Previously, you had spatial video capabilities, but now you can take spatial photos and videos via this new spatial mode. So those spatial photos and videos, of course, will be available to view on the Apple Vision Pro, which I think you should definitely be taking spatial photos and videos, especially of loved ones, for the future. Because when Apple releases a cheaper, better Vision Pro, you're going to be thinking yourself, hearing assistance is a feature that we covered in depth in a previous video. Basically, it turns the AirPods Pro 2 into a bona fide hearing aid. And you have the hearing protection section, which has some basic features for protecting your hearing. But here's the big one, hearing assistance. So you have an actual hearing aid functionality built right in. And as I stated, I've walked through this whole thing, showed you how to run the hearing test, showed you all the features with relation to the AirPods Pro 2 new hearing aid feature in 18.1. So definitely check out that video if you want to see how it all works. But briefly, I'll just walk through this. Basically, you go through, you take the hearing test, you place your AirPods in your ear, and it's going to want you to tap on the screen once you hear various tones at various frequencies. And from that test, it's able to discern whether or not you have hearing loss. And I do have a slight amount of hearing loss, but not a lot. But it's very interesting to figure that out. And then, as you can see here, in the health app, it shows you your hearing loss at various frequencies and stuff like that for your left and right ears. And then you can actually go in and turn on the hearing aid itself and media assist functionality. And this actually works as a hearing aid to boost the audio around you so you can actually hear better. You can turn the amplification up. You can change the balance. You can control amplification with the stem of the AirPods Pro 2. And there's even the ability to control all this via Control Center. You even have a dedicated slider for amplification that's separate from the actual media volume controls. So I was super impressed when I tested this out. Just makes your AirPods Pro 2 all the more valuable. And speaking of Control Center, you now have several new toggles within Control Center. So we'll just go ahead and add a control. Most of the new toggles are going to pertain to connectivity. So things like Bluetooth, individual Bluetooth, VPN, AirDrop, personal hotspot toggles, but there's also a toggle or dedicated toggles for measure. There's dedicated toggle for level. But the real cool thing for Control Center in 18.1, something that every user will definitely appreciate, if you've ever modified your Control Center, you're probably thinking, like, how do I get it back to how it was by default? There's no way to do that. Well, in 18.1, if you mess up Control Center, you don't have to worry about it because you can go back to the settings and go to Control Center, and you're going to be able to, yes, reset the Control Center to default settings. So you can just go back to it and everything's good. Don't have to worry about it. And one more feature that you'll find within Control Center is the new focus mode that is powered by Apple Intelligence. So if you go there, you can see reduce interruptions. So you can enable that. And this will limit notifications to only important notifications. And it uses AI to basically decide what is most important and what isn't. So you can see here, when reduce interruptions is active, intelligently allow important notifications to interrupt you and silence notifications determined not to be important. So interested to see what you guys think about that. Now, also in 18.1, there is a unified emoji picker. So what this basically does is it combines the stickers and it combines the emoji into one basic unified interface. So you can quickly access your stickers or emoji from the same place. As you can see, they're all mixed in there. And you can just simply tap on them to add that to your message, your conversation, your document, whatever the case may be. Nice to have that unified picker, larger emoji as well, to make them easier to find within this interface. And then finally, iPhone mirroring is not new for 18.1. This was available in 18. But what is new is the ability to drag and drop, a feature that Craig Federighi showed off at WWDC. Now it is available here as long as you're running, I believe, the latest version of macOS Sequoia. So here is my iPhone running 18.1 via my Mac. So the cool thing now, you can long press here, you can drag and drop. So I can actually move that recorded phone call directly to my desktop like that, and I can actually play that back just a M4A file. Just like that. Super nice feature, but not just that, you can also drag to your iPhone. This works with video or whatever the case may be. You can do it all with drag and drop. Super, super nice feature here in iOS 18.1. And of course, you can, just do everything else you could do on your phone right here from your Mac with your mouse. So you can go in there and type. You can even use the writing tools now directly from your iPhone via your Mac, and it works just as you would expect. So you can see here, iPhone in use. So if I go ahead and unlock that phone, it'll tell you that you were recently using iPhone mirroring. So iPhone was used from Mac. You can tap settings. You can actually see how long it was used and all that. You can see the actual device. And here you can see last used 19 seconds ago for 0 minutes. So ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, as you just saw, 18.1 brings lots of Apple Intelligence features to iOS users. What is your favorite new feature? Let me know down below. And also, this is just the beginning, because Apple Intelligence Phase 2 featuring ChatGPT, Emoji, image playgrounds, and all that is coming in December via iOS 18.2, which I have walked through right here. So don't miss that. Definitely check that out. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. This is Jeff with 9 to 5 Mac.